Greetings, royal queens and kings. It's your host, Queen Tulsa, and welcome back to the Queen Tulsa Show. I am so excited to be here with you all today. It feels so amazing to be back in the studio. Listen here, we've got a great lineup for you today. Queen Tulsa shines a light on true crime that changes history. Human remains that were found in the backyard of a Detroit home last month have been identified as a 9-year-old boy, officials said on Wednesday, according to Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy. The mother of the boy has been charged with unaliving him sometime last year and burying him in the backyard of the home. There's another case of a teen mom, Megan Boswell, who is facing multiple charges, including unalivement and the unalivement of her 15-month-old daughter, Evelyn Boswell. The child's remains were found inside a shed owned by Megan's grandfather. Listen here, we are here at the top of the hour. The current time is 8:04 a.m. Today is Thursday, February the 6th. Let's go ahead and get into our royal roll call. We have our royal Tiara is in the building, says Grand Rising to you, and thank you for coming by. We have What's Your Opinion? Solution is in the building, says, hey, how are you? And then we have Ariel Summers says, Morning, Queen Tulsa, Grand Rising to you, and thank you for coming by. Now, listen here, we're going to jump right on into it because, like I said, these are stories that hit the net. And I want to say, first and foremost, prayers out to the families that are grieving and that are going through the hard times with having to replay the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings. Um, it's just a lot. And you know what? This is the thing. Children, they didn't ask to be here. The children, they didn't ask to be here. But without further ado, I want to bring up the press conference of the 9-year-old boy whose remains were found. So give me one moment as we go ahead and transition. And shout out to production, who is definitely in the building and working very hard for us. Definitely want to give you a round of applause, and shout out to our studio audience, which is you. So without further ado, we have the Wayne County prosecutor announces charges against mom who allegedly unalived her 9-year-old son.
Many, many times and talked about how horrific, tragic, and shocking certain cases are. Each time thinking there are some future alleged facts that could be worse than what I'm talking about at the time. Knowing all the while, though, that there's always a worse set of facts on the horizon. Well, that day has come again. So I want to talk about a case of a young boy named Zamar King III. The alleged facts in this case are that we are announcing today. On January 6th of 2025, The Detroit Police Department was notified and summoned to a house on Whittingham in Detroit. They had been contacted by the landlord that owned that house. When he went to that house, the landlord contacted him when he went to that house to prepare it for a new tenant. That he called the police because he found a shallow grave in the backyard of the home on Whittingham. Upon arrival, the police were shown that grave where a human foot was sticking out of the ground. The foot was believed to be belonged to a small child.
So you all get into this. Just imagine, I couldn't even imagine as a parent, as a mother, um, you know, I just couldn't, y'all. I can't even say, oh, let me. No, I just couldn't. This is, you gave birth to this child, and what was it that this child could have done that was so out of line and out of place to where you decided that you were going to go ahead and delete him? Well, she's on the run, but extradition is a real process. Let's get into it.
After an extensive investigation by quite a few agencies, and the chief will talk about that in a minute, the buried body was discovered to be 9-year-old Zamar King III. That the mother of young Zamar was 41-year-old Brandy Pierce. It's alleged that she killed him, and that the cause of death found by the medical examiner was smothering and neck compression. So I want to just further go ahead and tell you what other facts about this case. It's alleged that she purchased a shovel. She bound him by tying his hands and feet together and dug a hole in the background of the house on Whittingham, where she had been living for a short time. She then put him in this hole and covered him with dirt. That after killing her son, she and her other son, who was 3 years old, moved to Georgia, Cobb County to be exact. It was determined that this, in fact, happened sometime in October of 2024. That Zamar's mother, Brandy Pierce, is currently in Cobb County,
Happy
Georgia,
Thursday,
and
Couture
we will be
Bay.
requesting her to be extradited.
And see, this is the thing. The woman, now I get it. Now, if we have to bury our loved ones, shout out to Couture Bay. Thank you for coming through on this Rising. Happy Thursday. And I want you to have a great one on purpose. Now, listen here. This woman, I get it. Like, we're having to bury our children, but this woman had her own private, demonic, satanic ceremony to where she buried him and his foot was still above ground. This was not only premeditated, this was carried out in the way in which the manner the mother wanted to. Because guess what? She not only did that, she grabbed her younger child and she bounced out. She knew exactly what she was doing. She left him behind. She didn't want to take no accountability for it. And you expect for me to believe that she's going to care for this younger baby? No, she's not to be trusted. She's not to be trusted. And if nobody else is going to say it, I'm going to say it. Let's get into it.
Back to Michigan. We are charging Brandy Catrice Pierce today with 1 count of murder in the first degree premeditation, which carries a life without parole sentence, mandatory. Count 2 is homicide felony murder. Again, the mandatory penalty is life in prison without the possibility of parole. Our 3rd count is child abuse in the first degree, life or any term of years in prison. The first degree child abuse is the felony to make out the felony murder we are alleging. Count 4 is tampering with evidence, criminal case punishable by more than 10 years in prison. And the 5th one is interfering with, concealing and interfering with the death of an individual, 5 years, of course, that being 9-year-old Zamar King. As always, this defendant is presumed innocent unless or until proven guilty. I should tell you that Judge Aaliyah Sabri of the 36th District Court authorized these charges yesterday. And since we will be requesting extradition, we will notify you all when in fact she is back in the state of Michigan. So of course, there is no next day for court. Again, let me just repeat, these charges and allegations are quite serious. They're deadly, They're shocking, every platitude that you can think of. But again, Miss Pierce is still presumed to be innocent unless until proven guilty. So I'm gonna have the chief say a couple words to you, and then we'll answer some questions for you if you can.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. As Madam Prosecutor said, this case is rather shocking.
Now listen here. Wayne County Prosecutor has spoken. Now listen here. In Michigan, that's where the Naziah Harris case is going on. They're going to be in court actually tomorrow. Well, so it's 31 days. So we got 31 days until the, well, no, not 31 days. We have, hold on, let's see. We got 38 days until the Naziah Harris trial that's going to be going on. That's going to be March the 7th of 2025. So I want you guys to be aware of that, okay?
In my 27-year career, I don't remember seeing anything like this, but I just want to thank, of course, Madam Prosecutor. I want to thank our law enforcement partners and everyone who helped out with this. The FBI was instrumental. Michigan State Police was instrumental in helping out as well, along with Cobb County and DeKalb County in the state of Georgia, their district attorney's office. And I just really want to express how proud I am of the hardworking men and women of the Detroit Police Department who helped bring this case to where it is today with these charges. I want to thank, of course, of our Major Crimes Division, the Commander Rebecca McKay, Captain Marcus Thurkill, Sergeant Ashley Peterson, Detective Kelly Lucy, who is here with us, Detective Lisa Johnson, and then the officer who is leading the case, Officer Isaac Yamas, and the members of the Western Squad. The Detroit Police Department works relentlessly on behalf of victims, and we are confident that there will be accountability for this. And as Madam Prosecutor said, of course, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Thank you much.
It seems to all of us who do this work on a daily basis, there's been a,
And I'll even say that on my end as well. She's innocent until proven guilty. But I'm coming from a standpoint of a mother. You know what I'm saying? This right here, this was, I mean, it just breaks my heart. If you're a mother, then you know. You know what I'm saying? When you think about, you know, children being deleted, okay, this could be at a high school or a school, you know, situation. This could be, you know, a tragic freak accident. It could be any other things, right? But to take your own out, allegedly, is just something that I just can't wrap my mind around. There are plenty of resources that if, you know, parenting becomes a little bit hard, they have to, people may not agree. But remember the young lady, Amora, she went and turned her children into Child Protective Services. I'd rather have done that than to be overwhelmed and makes an unconscious decision that she would have to live with for the rest of her life. And that's what this woman is going to have to do. She's going to have to live with this for the rest of her life unless they give her that shot, you know? So let's get into it.
Just a large number of tragic cases have happened to our children, worse than we have seen. So it's our hope that we don't continue to see these, but I know that's probably false hope that I'm having. Before we go any further, I want to introduce Tina Ripley, who has worked together on this case very hard. She will be trying this case. Louisa Papoulis is to her right and your left. She is the Deputy Chief of the Special Victims Unit. Kelly Gleason is to my immediate left, and she is the Chief of the Special Victims Unit. And again, if the Chief would introduce these people that are standing here, that would be helpful.
Sergeant, I'm sorry, Detective Lisa Johnson is right here. Also, officer in charge of the case, Isaac Yamas. Kelly Lucy, detective. Ashley Peterson, Marcus Thurkill. Marcus is in the back there as well. And then Captain Rebecca McKay.
Okay. We'll take some short questions at this point, if you have any.
Not that you guys needed it to get the charging decision, but any indication as to why possible motive in this case?
I don't talk about motives at the time. Any further evidence and charging decision will come out when we go to court. So, again, we can't comment on that at this time.
Has there been any communication with Samar's mother at all from you guys?
We did speak with his father yesterday, actually this morning, actually. So, yes, we have had contact with the family.
Okay, so sounds like the father is cooperating. Sounds like the family is cooperating. Thank God for that. Okay. We're gonna listen to the rest of this, and then I'm gonna hit you guys with a Black History, some awareness, some informative information, some things that you may not have known, and also some affirmations. So we'll continue on with this broadcast, and then I'll flow into our informative remarks about Black History Month and the month of February.
Family, and the Detroit Police Department has had contact with the family as well.
So forgive me, I must be confused because I'm not listening close enough, so I apologize. But the relationship of the suspect to the child.
Mother. Yes. 41-year-old Brandy Pierce was his mother.
Okay.
And does Samar's father live in Michigan?
He lives in this area, yes.
And was he aware of his child's death?
Again, we talked to him. I don't think he was aware until recently, but again, we did speak with him this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll be speaking with him, of course, further as time goes on.
And those are just, oh, go ahead.
No, please, you got it.
Those are her two kids, Samar and the 3-year-old?
Yes.
Madam Prosecutor, where's the 3-year-old right now? What's his status? What's his condition?
Again, he's with his mother in Georgia right now. And he was, and now he's in foster care here, I believe.
Can you
foster
provide,
care locally? Oh, okay.
Yep.
are you able to provide any further information on the timeline of, you mentioned October, and then what,
That'll come out in court.
but in regard to how she ends up in Georgia with the other child, or with
All I can
family,
tell
or-
all I can tell you at this point in time is she left shortly after she buried the body in the backyard and went to the state of Georgia.
So the landlord call to DPD was on January 6th, correct?
The landlord call was on January 6th. The police were notified. They immediately went out to the house on Whittingham. They were shown that grave by the owner of that particular property. They saw the foot sticking out of the ground, and it went from there. The chief notified me immediately upon that discovery.
She had rented that home?
I assume she rented it. I don't know.
Madam Prosecutor, just got this from a coworker, some indication that,
Who's talking? I can't see it.
Randy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can you speak to this? I'll just read this verbatim. The source indicated yesterday that the mother claims they were horsing around and playing some sort of choking game.
I'm not going to comment on the evidence in the case.
Also, was this case file sent over to you guys more than once at all? And if so, what elements were needed to get to a charging decision?
Oh, we're not going to talk about that. Yeah. The police contact us when they have information. We talk often back and forth. And then once we get a completed investigation, we make a charging decision. Anybody else?
Do we know how long the mom has been living in that rental house?
For a short period of time.
All right, so that concludes that broadcast. What do you guys think about that? Do you all feel like that mother should have had I'm trying to think, like, did she not have a support system? Like, was she overwhelmed with parenting? I'm just trying to figure out, maybe what caused her, what caused like her breakdown. Sounds like she had like a breakdown and she just automatically went into trying to eliminate, I don't know. We gotta definitely pay attention to the signs. We have to check on our strong friends. I mean, and we also have to check in with ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, am I okay today? And it's okay to say, no, I'm not okay today. You know, um, we have to. Hey, Jessica B, how are you doing? Good to see you, babe. Grand Rising. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and get into our Black History informative affirmations. February marks Black History Month, and in honor of the occasion, we're looking back on famous quotes from Black leaders, thinkers, and artists, past and present, who have left their mark on history. From the 19th, 20th century journalist Ida B. Wells, the way to right wrong is to turn the light of truth upon them. To the late civil rights leader and politician John Lewis, never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in trouble. Oh, and get in good trouble. Let me repeat that. Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble. Necessary trouble. Many of these voices speak powerfully to the theme of resistance to oppression. Other quotes in this collection evoke themes of strength and excellence. One of our favorites, astronaut Dr. Mae Jemison's inspirational words: never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. Okay, get into it. All right, let's get into it. In recognizing the humanity of our fellow beings, we pay ourselves the highest tribute. Thurgood Marshall. Hate is too great of a burden to bear. It injures the hater more than it injures the hated. Coretta Scott King. Defining myself as opposed to being defined by others is one of the most difficult challenges I face. Carol Mosley Braun. My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together. Desmond Tutu. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Langston Hughes. Success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed. Booker T. Washington. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into our next story here. He said mental health is important, but yes, it is. And you all, it looks beautiful. I went to therapy, what, on the third, what was that, like 3 days ago? Yeah, and I am going to continue to um, stay on this journey. And like I said, just because you go to therapy one time or two times or three times, this is an ongoing effort to greatness. So just because you've reached a milestone, don't get comfortable. Do not get comfortable. Just because you've reached milestones, don't get comfortable and sit in it. There's you still got to get up, and there's still more to accomplish. Trust me on that one. All right, now we're about to get into the Megan Boswell day one of baby Evelyn unalivement trial. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and we'll. Okay, and actually, let me give you guys a rundown on what this is. Okay, so this is the Tennessee versus Megan Boswell day one baby Evelyn unalivement trial. Opening statements: teen mom Megan Boswell is facing multiple charges, including unalivement and the death of her 15-month-old daughter, Evelyn Boswell. The child's remains were found inside a shed owned by Megan's grandfather. So that's where we are. Trigger warning. Let's go ahead and get into the clip.
got information from him, contact information from him. He was to either contact us or be here on Monday in regards to the trial. He was not. I had our victim witness coordinator attempt to contact him yesterday. The phone number he had assured us he would be available at, and he has not responded to that. As a result, we would ask for him, KPs to be issued, him to be brought before the court.
All right.
I've got a copy.
I do
of
have
this.
to ask one question.
Yes.
And it's one of those asking how I know. He was actually served with the subpoena.
He was. I've attached a copy of the subpoena, Judge.
And I just want to get to like the opening arguments. And you guys could watch this at your leisure. But I just wanted to open up the door to where, we're going to be doing true crime. So I don't want to put it heavy on you guys. I'm just going to like give you guys little snippets like here and there. But I'm going to zoom this up just so we can kind of hear like some action going on in the court. Give me 1 second.
Jim.
Thank you, Judge. Presentment, case number S-72-869, State of Tennessee, County of Sullivan. Criminal court charge, first-degree murder, count 1. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, feloniously, intentionally, and with premeditation kill Evelyn May Boswell, contrary to Tennessee Code annotated section 39-13-202A1, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, felony murder, count 2. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully and feloniously kill Evelyn May Boswell, a human and being, said killing being committed in the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate the felony crime of aggravated child abuse, contrary to Tennessee Code annotated section 39-13-202A2, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, felony murder, count 3. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully and feloniously kill Evelyn May Boswell, a human and being, said killing being committed in the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate the felony crime of aggravated child neglect, contrary to Tennessee Code annotated section 39-13-202A2, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, aggravated child abuse, count 4. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, feloniously, knowingly, and other than by accidental means, treat Evelyn May Boswell, date of birth November 21st, 2018, a child under 8 years of age, in such a manner as to inflict serious bodily injury, contrary to Tennessee Code annotated section 39-15-402, a Class A felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, aggravated child neglect, count 5. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, feloniously, and knowingly neglect a child, Evelyn May Boswell, date of birth November 21st, 2018, a child 8 years of age or less, so as to adversely affect the child's health and welfare. And the act of neglect resulted in serious bodily injury to the child, Evelyn May Boswell. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-15-402, a Class A felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavis, District Attorney General. Charge, tampering with evidence, count 6. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously alter, destroy, or conceal evidence with the intent to impair its availability, verity, or legibility as evidence in an investigation. The said Megan Boswell, knowing that an investigation was pending or in progress, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 39-16-503, a Class C felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavis, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 7. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Tracy Haraz, a law enforcement officer, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning Evelyn Boswell and the defendant's claim that her infant child was with the child's father, Ethan Perry, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavis, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 8. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detectives Michelle Gillum and Tracy Haraz, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's alleged lack of knowledge of the whereabouts of her infant daughter and her alleged efforts to locate her daughter, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavis, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 9. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Lieutenant Steve Williams, a law enforcement officer, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell. Knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the alleged last physical contact that the defendant had with her infant daughter and Ethan Perry's alleged refusal to respond to her text and voicemails regarding her daughter following an argument with Ethan Perry about the custody arrangements concerning her daughter. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 10. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Captain Joey Strickler, a law enforcement officer, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false, and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's alleged last physical contact with her infant daughter and the defendant's alleged lack of knowledge of the whereabouts of her infant daughter, even though she had concerns that her daughter was possibly injured. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 11. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath, present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 19th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Federal Bureau of Investigation agents Jeff Blanton and Todd Wilcox, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the alleged time frame of when the defendant gave her infant daughter to Ethan Perry to keep, since she could not handle her daughter anymore, and Ethan Perry's alleged threats to take the defendant to court to address the custody of their daughter. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General.
Well, listen here. I did put the link into the chat to where you all can find this court trial. We'll come back here a little bit later to discuss. There are some more lives that I do have set up for you all, so make sure you set your notifications to all. We'll go ahead and read some of these comments. Let's see, shaking my head, upset. She should have admitted guilt to avoid dragging this out in trial. They're going to throw the book at her. Yeah, I just feel like tell the truth. And it seemed like she was giving them the runaround. She wasn't being honest. And then, like you said, now she's in trial, and now you have more evidence that's going to come out, and they're going to drag you for dear life. But I just kind of feel like this is justice. The people need to know what her thoughts was, how she communicated with the investigators, how she neglected to uphold her responsibilities. I think everybody should know that. Let's see, shaking my head. What a pig. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Okay, I'll check my notifications, babes. All right. Yes. We got Tiara in here, says Jessica, I agree. So listen here, you all let me know what you think in the comments. Shout out to our studio audience. Thank you all for coming by. Before we close out this broadcast, I do want to leave you with our daily devotion. Walking by faith. Faith is a gift from God that opens the door to salvation and enables us to enter into his presence. Today is February the 6th, 2025. We often hear the word faith. However, when such a word is used, frequently it can become so familiar that we grow immune to its great depth of meaning. So today let's consider what faith actually entails. Everyone has faith. For example, it takes a measure of confidence in a kitchen chair to sit down without first testing its strength. Yet, believing furniture will hold our weight is quite different from entrusting our life to Almighty God. Exactly what then is the biblical definition of faith. In Hebrews 1:11, we read that it is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And we know that it is impossible to please the Lord without faith, Hebrews 11:6. In fact, there's nothing we can do that will earn salvation. The only way to heaven is by having confidence in Jesus, substantiary sacrificial death on the cross, which paid the penalty we owed for our sin. What's more, faith is nothing we can create within ourselves. Scripture is clear that it is a gift of God. Ephesians 2:8. Have you accepted God's gift of faith and embarked on the wonderful journey that He invites you to share with Him? If you're not sure whether you trusted your life to Him with full confidence, ask Him to guide you and reveal the truth. All right, so that concludes our daily devotion. I definitely want to thank you all for coming out. Let's get into these comments and then we'll conclude the broadcast. Jessica has put the hearts up in there. Technique says, honey, the beef sector is talking about banding all you AMs, and from their panels, you got bigger problems. You better stay on your own side with no more beef sector for you. Okay, we want to thank each and every one of you for taking out the time to come by and sound off and be informed. I really hope that you all had taken some of the information that we had given out, even the affirmations, and also celebrating Black History Month. We'll incorporate that into all of our segments. So I definitely want to say thank you so much. Absolutely. I timed him out. He's gone. Absolutely. Well, listen here. We want to thank you so much to all of our royal family, our royal support. And even if this is your first time coming by, please consider coming by on the next broadcast. I'm your host, Queen Tulsa. This concludes our broadcast. Until next time.